everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Pamela, and on today's video I have an amazing special planting friend, Pam's Pretty Plants. She's here on YouTube and Instagram. Please check her out. So today is a double Pam wham video.
Yes.
And
Pam on Pam action.
Yes, Pam squared. Oh, yeah. So, I guess I just want to let you all know that Pam and I, Pam squared, we actually did a video on Pam's channel. I'm going to have that video linked down below. It's a repotting of a bunch of our plants, and this is actually the plant that I repotted. So, go ahead and check Pam's video out. I will have it linked down below. But today's video, we are going to be just, you know, talking and
chilling,
drinking. And Pam, please go ahead and introduce yourself, because I know I introduced you, but go ahead, girl, and get to talking.
Hello. My name is Pam, obviously. I am, let's see, I've been on YouTube on PlantTube for a couple of years now. And Pam and I kind of ran into each other over the intertubes, and we share a mutual appreciation for honest communication. Yes. And I think that that has definitely helped us become friends. So I'm very happy to be here. Really excited.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Okay, guys, because you know, I've gotten comments on my videos like, Pam, I love your videos, but you're so chaotic. So of course in my chaotic videos I have to search for a can opener because I want to drink a beer. And obviously I don't know how to prepare, you know, ahead of time. So I have to ruin, you know, waste everybody's time.
Yeah, my drink is half gone, so we're both unprepared.
Sorry, Pam. Oh, where's my can opener?
This is when you have the ding, 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 ding.
Please wait. Okay, no, alright. Please wait. Let me see.
Oh. Don't hurt yourself. Me and my soft teeth are over here like crying. You need a lighter. Hit it on the corner of a table.
Oh, I should.
You ever learn that trick?
I'm almost there.
Fucking hurts.
Almost there, guys. When you're too lazy.
Oh my god.
Alright. I'm too lazy to get up and get a can opener. Alright, guys. Throw my bag over there. Somehow got cat hair in my mouth. Okay, Pam. So I'm going to ask you some burning questions. Are you ready? If you see me looking down, it's because my lappy top is right that away.
Yes.
Alright, Pam. So, first question is, what do you dislike the most about the current plant community?
What do I dislike about the current plant community? Well, a lot of things.
No, spill it, just go ahead.
I do have a little bit of a list of complaints. As much as I love the plant community, I think that we have definitely noticed over the last few months that we have just a hint of white privilege going on. We have some plant poaching. That's not cool. A lot of some backbiting, some gossip, some throat cutting. Not a big fan of any of that. But I will say that for the most part, I do think that it is a growing and progressive community that I am happy to be a part of. But yeah, there is definitely, especially in the current climate, the election coming and everything, I feel like tensions are high. So high. We've all been stuck in our houses, and YouTube is competitive, and sometimes, and then there's the shitty comments. I don't like those much either, but
yeah, get over yourself.
We deal with those.
Honestly, get over yourself. So I also asked on my Instagram for some of my Houseplant fam to just send questions. So I'm gonna actually be going through my own personal questions and some questions that, you know, the Houseplant fam answered, you know, just to get everybody involved. You know what I mean? Keep it that way.
Into it.
So this question came from Greeny Teeny on Instagram, and they asked, what houseplants will you never buy again? You can go ahead and answer this one first.
Oh, never buy again. I'm gonna cuss, so you're gonna need to bleep this out. Fuck a fiddle leaf fig. Hate that plant. I don't need one. I don't like the way their leaves feel. I don't like the way that they look at me. I don't like the way that they attract spider mites. Fuck a fiddle leaf fig. Hate that plant.
Oh no! Toby, close your ears. Don't listen to Auntie Pam. So, I guess for me, I love the fiddle leaf fig. They are pretty finicky, and I would say do not put neem oil on fiddle leaf fig. It's like they will burn your leaves. Don't do it. Do not do it.
Notice that.
For me, the plant that I would probably never ever purchase again might be a Stromanthe trio star.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're beautiful, 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 but I can't keep them alive. They're too fussy.
And I feel like they mess with you. They'll stay alive for a minute, and then they're just like, and you're like, what happened?
That is literally what happened. Literally, they were
like,
pushing
yeah,
out new
I had it for almost a
growth.
year.
They're so happy, and then like, where did you go? Where did you go? Like, oh my gosh, yes, I would never get that ever again, ever again. Okay, ooh, Harlem Planter said, do you both share a mutual wish list plant? I think that might be hard to answer because I'm not too sure what your wish list plants are.
It might be. Yeah.
I don't really think I have a wish list.
What's on my...
I'm so discouraged by
I
plant
still need
prices.
a Thai constellation.
Oh yeah, I have an elbow. I was gifted.
You have, so you're good.
Oh, no, sorry. My bad. My bad. No, for me, I think I don't really have a wish list anymore. I'm so discouraged by plant prices.
Same.
That even if I wanted to look at anything, if I look at it, I'm like, oh, I can't even afford that. So I don't even want to add it onto my list because I automatically am saying I can't afford it, you know? So
yes. I want a queen anthurium. I think that's like the last thing that I'm like someday.
I have to look at what those are like the clarinariums. They look similar.
I have a I have one of those. I want like the big, the long, the walker,
like the one that Kaylee has, like in her wall, like, featuring. Hey, Kaylee. She has that hugest queen anthurium. Oh yeah, gosh. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm scared of anthuriums. I'm really scared of plants that like a lot of humidity.
Me too.
So I don't. My room is not humid. I have 2 humidifiers that I don't use. So
they're so annoying to fill and clean. Yeah. Like
it's too much work. It's too much work.
Can't be bothered.
I'm a lazy plant parent, and anything that's tedious doesn't work for me. So
yeah. I'm learning that about myself.
Okay, so next question. If you had to guess the other person's pride and joy in their home, what would it be? Ooh.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know.
Would it be your anthurium clarinarium? It's so hard to pronounce it. Clarinarium.
I mean, I do love that plant. It's not my pride and joy. I have a lot of sentimental plants, so I think that those might be more of my pride and joy. But when it comes to things that, like, I don't know, I guess that are, like, rare and I'm super happy to have, I have my albo from Rachel.
Okay, so. That's beautiful.
That's very special to me.
I think my albo is also maybe... No, my pride and joy plant definitely has to be my Dieffenbachia. My first plant, my oldest plant. And let me put this down so you all can see.
So you're a sentimental plant.
Yeah, my mom got me this plant and it was like a wee little lad. And now it's like, it was smaller than this Dieffenbachia. It was like much smaller than this.
My like 6 foot Pachira aquatica my mom got me.
I love those.
When it was little, so I love that plant too.
I love those. Let me put this down. I have so many plants, Pam. So I guess going off of, did you answer about?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Just to make sure, right? Just make sure we're all okay.
We'll go with the elbow.
What as like a plant parent is like discouraging for you, because I think for me, within this last year, my collection has grown like exponentially, like astronomically, and I went from maybe having less than 50 to like, or less than like 100 plants, right, to now having maybe over 200 plants. I find that watering days are just so overwhelming for me
100%.
that now I have to actually extend my watering days to like maybe 2 days, because, and when I do think about it, it's not that I have a lot of plants, but maybe the way that my soil composition is, it requires for my plants to soak.
Yes.
And soaking takes time. So it prolongs, let's say watering might take me an hour or two, but with soaking it might extend it to maybe 6 hours. And that's kind of crazy, but I'm very limited to the space I can have my plants soak in. So if I'm removing plants and needing them to soak in like a bucket or the tub or whatever, I can only fit so much plants in there.
Yeah.
So I do become overwhelmed, and I have noticed actually that my plants, some of them were declining because of me being overwhelmed and not providing the proper care for them. Have you found yourself like maybe during the C19 that you went through anything similar?
There are days when watering absolutely defeats me. Like, I feel guilty, I feel overwhelmed. Like, I think that something that I definitely didn't consider while getting all of my plants. I obviously thought about it, like I'm gonna have to take care of all these plants. But something I didn't really think about is the fact that I was getting plants to sort of help me with like mental, you know, happiness, just overall mental health and stuff. But I forget that I also have bad days and like bad weeks. And if you have a bad couple weeks, if you're somebody that deals with anxiety, depression, or just you have a crazy life, like you're gonna lose plants because like you just can't keep up. And like my soil composition, because I was trying to avoid peat, because a lot of people will get very upset with you if you talk about peat because it's a limited resource. Fair enough. So I switched over to cocoa, and I'm happy with that decision, but cocoa does dry out a little, I've noticed, a little faster than peat, so I have to water a lot, and it's definitely, it takes me hours a week, I would say, at this point. So I'm trying to work on ways to like get more self-watering pots and maybe use my water spikes that I bought a year ago and never used. So try to find hacks around it. But yeah, there are definitely, like, it really gets me down some days, because it's like at the end of the day, you're just like, you'll see that withering plant, you know, in the corner of the room, and all you want to do is sleep, and you're like,
I'm too lazy to water you. Like, you know it needs to be watered, but like you can't bring yourself to like do it because you're just so overwhelmed.
Yes, and like I have to filter my water too, so it takes a while for my watering can to fill up. And the amount of times that I'll set my watering can up to fill and then walk away and flood my kitchen is like,
oh my gosh, Pam. Oh my gosh.
All the time.
Let's not do that. Let's not flood our kitchens with water.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I don't.
Please don't. Oh my gosh. But yes, I guess for a lot of the new plant parents that are coming into the plant community, be mindful of this I want mine. I see it, I want it, I like it, I buy it. Like, we are not Ariana Grande people, okay?
Yes.
Like, take a chill pill and take it, I guess, from Pam and I, you know, who have gone through this just influx of plants within a smaller span of time compared to how long it has taken our collection to grow prior.
Yes.
You know, I think in the last year I doubled my collection.
Totally, I definitely did.
Yeah, and this is, for me, like, it took me over 10 years to have my collection before last year.
I had like 10 plants for like 10 years, you know, and they'd kind of rotate out, but it was always like between 10 and 15 plants, and they're just, and I still have some of them, but yeah, it didn't, it's because you're pulling that dopamine button, and like, a lot of us need that in 2020. We really, like, we're short on happy feelings and happy chemicals, so you go plant shopping, and it's like, you get that rush of happy chemicals, and you keep
Yes.
telling yourself this is self-care and it's beautiful
Yes.
and it's natural and it's okay, and then like, yeah, eventually you're gonna be overwhelmed.
And it's so easy to just purchase them because you're not physically having to go to the stores to purchase anything. You're literally just clicking buttons. That's literally what you're doing. You're not even having to do any physical work. And even the fact when it comes to paying, hold on, it died. You see what I mean? Like, sorry. The beer is catching up to me. Sorry.
I know. I'm getting to the bottom of my vodka-y puddle on the bottom here.
Okay, and so when it comes to like even purchasing the plants, 9 times out of 10 you already have like your card information saved either on your phone or on your computer. So you're just, when it comes to the payment option, you're just clicking auto save like password or auto save card information. So you're not even typing 4207, here's my PIN, here's my address. No, it literally is just like, oh, auto save, auto save, auto save, purchase. And it's like, in a second, you just spent like $200 on a plant, and you're like, I would have never purchased the $200 plant in real life. Because
do you do the 2 a.m. shopping that where you when you're weak?
oh no, I don't.
Oh, it's bad. And like one time, a package showed up, and I was like, what the fuck is this, right? So like I opened it, and I was like, oh, I had this vague memory of just not being able to sleep. And like I joke about it all the time with like the restock emails, but those things are evil.
They are evil.
They will get you.
I was watching Dave Ramsey. He's just like a financial consultant,
money guy, right?
And he was talking about how, damn it, I lost my train of thought. Repeat what you just said, Pam. Maybe it'll come back to me.
The Dave Ramsey money guy thing? Oh, we were talking about, here's my ADD kicking in.
I think I might have slight
What was I saying? Oh, about the restock emails.
Yes. Oh, yeah, so Dave Ramsey was saying that sales are really, really bad for people because, honestly, if you see something that's 2 for $10, you'll purchase it because you get 2 for $10, but you're still spending double the money. You know, you're still spending more, but you don't think you're spending more because you think you're saving. So those restock emails where they're like, oh, restocked, and we have a 10% coupon off for you. So you're like, oh,
yeah, here's your 10%
yeah, let me
off.
save an extra $2, you know, with that 10% off coupon, and let me spend an extra $60 just to save $2. No, people.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God, I'm so susceptible to a bargain too. Like, I mean, that's literally why I started my YouTube channel, was to like teach people how to get things for cheap, because I'm really good at being poor. So if I see something that's like a bargain, I have a really hard time walking away from it. And that's like something I had to learn, was like, just because it's a bargain doesn't mean you need to buy it.
Yeah, except maybe if it's a plant. And then sometimes, you know, it's hard for Gardenia's nursery to restock it. So maybe I need to add all the Hoyas that are $54 into my cart because it's a restock that might not come back in another 2 months.
And you're like, I might not get it again for months. And it's like,
so what? So what? But then you don't think so what. You're like, no, I need it. And they get you that way. They're so good with that, Pam. It is so hard.
Especially when you start justifying, like, oh, I could always propagate this and maybe sell a little piece, or maybe I can trade it and then it'll be worth it, or like, or for me, and you may get this too, I'm like, oh, I could do an unboxing video and I'll make a little money back for ad revenue, and then it's like I never bought a plant at all.
Yes, and that is my thing now. You know what I actually do? I no longer use my own money, like my 9-to-5 money. I use like my ad money to like anything YouTube related now. I just use like the little pennies like that I make from ad revenue. The little shillings. Massa, you want a little coin? You want 2 pennies? 3 pence for your 7,000 views. Like, thank you, YouTube.
Here's a nickel for your hour of work.
Oh, like, yeah, thanks, you know. So that's what I've been doing.
People really think that like YouTubers are, I actually literally witnessed, and this may set you off, but I witnessed an exchange in comments the other day where somebody was lamenting about YouTubers asking for Patreon or like memberships or anything like that, and they likened it to panhandling at the end of a freeway.
What?
I was like, first of all, I give those people money too because they also deserve to eat. Second of all,
Pam, have you ever used vermiculite? And do you like it?
Yes. Yes, I use vermiculite actually for...
First of all, what is vermiculite?
If anybody saw, I have a video that I put up recently about coleus and how I trim my leggy coleus. And I trim them back down and then I plant the trimmings, the tip cuttings, back into the pot. And I use a layer of vermiculite over the top because it holds moisture and it keeps the cuttings from drying out, but I don't have to water the whole plant and soak all the roots and ruin it, but I can keep that top layer nice and moist so that the cuttings root right into the pot and I don't have to root them in water.
That is so smart.
That's what I use vermiculite for. I don't think I've used it. I use it outside too because it's good to mix in.
Okay, but what is vermiculite? Is it like perlite or something? Or is it like? Does it look like peat moss or?
Yeah, vermiculite. It's like I think it's like some kind of stone.
Okay.
It's like flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a ground up something or other. I sound dumb right now because I don't know what it is, but it's like a.
It looks like perlite a little.
It kind of is like the opposite of perlite. Perlite will dry everything out faster. I feel like vermiculite sort of it aerates but also keeps moisture.
Okay. Ooh. So, FL Plant Daddy asks, what helps you talk comfortable in front of a camera?
Oh, I guess, well, I talk to myself all day anyway. I just can't shut the fuck up ever. So, I don't know. It was definitely weird at first. And it was weird not because I was talking to a camera, but it was weird because I knew people would see it later. And I think like when people ask questions like that, I know that they're asking because they feel weird about it. And they kind of want to know like, did you also feel this way? Am I normal for feeling this way? So yes, you are normal for feeling that way. We all feel a little weird at first. But, and even when I take breaks and come back, I don't know if you've noticed, like if you take like a week or two off or whatever, you come back and you sit down and it is a little...
like get your thoughts.
Like I feel a little slow, like I'm not as on.
Yeah. Sometimes like I find that I'll say like a lot or, you know, when you're trying to like collect your thoughts. So I think the consistency, you know, being more consistent. And then kind of when you are consistent, trying to find a feel of who you are and what you like to say. For example, for my intros, I kind of say the same intros and outros. So I know that once I start my video, you know, and I say, hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, I'm kind of like in the zone. You know, that for me gets me in the zone. Like, all right, Pam, and scene, you know, like, you know, so I think that is what helps me a bit with my comfort because I come on and I'm like, I'm just talking to the camera, but I talk to myself also all the time. And sometimes I even like, this sounds so cheesy, but when I have a video idea in my head, I'll practice like what I might want to say, like, you know, even before I sit down to film, or even if I'm not even home to film, I'm like, oh, what would I want to talk about? And like I kind of have like the conversation in my head before it even happens. So that helps me too.
I write a lot of scripts in the shower
those are the best.
And driving. I feel like I'll be like thinking of what I want to say, like.
No. Speaking of showers, I'm like that weird person that after an argument, you think about like what you should have said. Like I'm like, I should have punched that bitch in her fucking face, yo. I should have been like, yeah, yo, mama.
Especially if it was a verbal argument, because if I have time to write, I will eviscerate you. But if I have to be quickly speaking later on, I'll be like, I should have said this, that, and then,
tore her a new hole. God damn it! Like,
I'm working on that. You know, we're working on letting go.
Shower like therapy sessions are the worst. To be honest, I think they're worse than they are good for us because we're like, why am I such a wimp?
They probably are, yeah. Everybody is against you in the shower for some reason. What is with that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Horchata Hug said, is there such a thing as too many plants? Yeah, there is. For one person, no, for sure.
And I am at it. I am past it. I am through it. I'm going through it. Half these plants behind me right now, almost dead. They need to be watered because it's a lot to handle, like we were talking about earlier. I think that there is. But you know what the great thing is? You can give plants away and then get more. You never have to stop. You just have to know when to let go of some. Make some room on the shelf.
No, I definitely agree with you. I'm at this place to where I feel like I'm overwhelmed, but I'm also at the place where I'm satisfied, because I think if I get any more, I am going to be overwhelmed, where I wouldn't be able to like just deal with anything at all. So coming from maybe a couple months ago when I would maybe do like 5-6 plant hauls a month, you know, just casually, like, oh yeah, I just purchased another plant from Steve's Leaves. Yeah, I went to Home Depot. Yeah, and it's like now it's like it's a stretch if you get maybe one plant haul. Well,
after a while, it's hard to find one that you even want when you're just out shopping, because you kind of already have all the available things.
Everything.
Like, I know at first I was just like, there's so many I want. So it was really easy to just fill a whole cart and be like, now I have them, yay! And we all want that planty apartment, you know, like you want it fast and you want it right away. So yeah, it's hard to maintain.
Yes, no, definitely. It's so hard. It's like, it's so fucking hard, Pam, to like maintain these plants. And for all the new plant parents, it's like, it's hard, people. Please
believe us. Like, eventually, you are not going to be as excited to water as you are now. Because I used to wake up and I was that girl that was like, it's the morning, time to water. I'm going to make my tea and my coffee, and I'm going to have cozy candles lit, and I'm going to water my plants. And you know what? That lasts about 6 months. And then you're like, I gotta water again? Why are you dry again?
Why the fuck are you so thirsty, man? You can't get up and go shower yourself.
Oh, there's always plants in my bathtub. Drives everybody crazy. I'm like, sorry.
Yes. There's this like Facebook ad that I seen once. It's this robot that has this succulent on it, and it walks to the sunlight, you know, throughout the day. It's kind of creepy.
That's creepy.
But it's this like, I'm gonna try to see if I can find that video and post it in here. It's like this robot that has a succulent and walks for like sunlight. I'm like, maybe I might need something, but like a mega size that will pick up the plants and put them back when I'm not home.
Kill a plant again. Called Hixa, the intelligent planter is just big enough to hold a medium-sized succulent, and is equipped with spider-like legs that can walk into the sunlight when its plant passenger needs some vitamin D. Beijing-based robotics company Vingcross created Hixa with the idea that humans might become more acquainted with robots in their home. The 6-legged robot is equipped with several motors, infrared and 720p cameras, as well as a Linux operating system. Hixa uses its legs to walk toward the light when the plant is in need of some sun, and rotate or spin to get the right amount of sunlight. It will also tell you if the succulent needs water by stamping its legs up and down. And if the plant is happy, Hixa will even do a little dance. Hixa's optical and spatial sensors allow it to watch and learn from the world around it, the Vingcross website states.
Because
I saw a lot of people like to send me, because I did at one point, Nicole from My Clean Leaves and we did like a reacting to weird plant gadgets and stuff video. So sometimes people will send me stuff like that to this day, and like, they have like a pot that will text you and complain when it needs water, and they were like, isn't this great? And I was like, no, I have kids. I have cats. I have so many things asking me for food and water all day long. Like, I don't need, you shut up. You're a plant. You stay silent. That's why I like you.
Yes. Yes.
I don't get any lip from my plants.
Look at, just like picking off the yellow leaves off of the plant, just like ever so casually, like, oh, just another yellow leaf.
Were you thirsty?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, Pam. All right, let's see. Is there a plant you regret purchasing?
Regret. I don't know about looking around, like, which one of you bitches do I regret? I've definitely, you know what plant I ended up really trying very hard and ultimately just admitting that everyone was right and it sucks is an Asparagus Fern. I loved it. It was beautiful. That was the neediest plant I have ever had in my life. I will never stop finding the little needles that fall off when it gets thirsty. It's like glitter in my house. They are everywhere. And I like moving that plant from window to window, just trying to make it happy. And I just threw it out last week, and I was like, you were not worth the months of suffering that I went through to try to keep you happy. So screw that plant.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. My gosh, I think for me might be my Black Pagoda lipstick. No. Okay, so it's actually between two plants. It either might be my Black Pagoda lipstick plant or my philodendron no, is it? It's the more expensive version of the micans.
The varicosum?
No, it's varicosum X. They sometimes breed
Melanochrysum varicosum.
Melanochrysum.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. The melanochrysum, I think, because I think that was my most priciest plant I ever purchased too. I think it was like 60 bucks. I bought, you know, like a couple leaves for like 60 bucks. Did it get spider mites? Like, back in the day. No, it would just grow and the leaves would never just grow, you know. I would just get a vine and then the leaves never fully matured. Yeah. So the philodendron melanochrysum for me is what I don't like. The leaves never matured, and I spent a lot of money on it. And the plant ended up dying, but I managed to save a couple of nodes, and I ended up selling one of the like nodes that I rooted for a good cause. It was during the Black Lives Matter. When it was like really like out there. I did a plant auction, and proceeds from the plant auction, like half of the proceeds I donated towards Color of Change, which Color of Change, which is the organization I decided to donate my money to. And that organization just helped in like so many different ways, like for like bailouts and for like black women, black men. It was just very helpful, and it was helping with like the COVID at that time. People couldn't get access to tests and all of that, so Color of Change allowed a lot of people in many communities within the U.S. to get access to so many different things. They were bailing people out from like prisons who were protesting during the George Floyd protests. So it was an organization that I was proud to like, you know, help out.
I think it's so cool that those kind of charities, I noticed that a lot of like the bail-based charities were making the rounds on like with normies, you know, like just people in the middle of the road that I would not have expected to contribute to people that had been arrested. Because you know how like there's like that, oh, it's well, you shouldn't have been doing something bad. But I noticed that a lot of those charities got picked up by like bigger channels, bigger companies, and things like that. And I thought that was like kind of a big step, because it's sort of acknowledging that just because you've been arrested doesn't mean that maybe that arrest was just. Because they're a lot of times they're not. You know,
it really isn't. It's like wrong place at the wrong time. Basically, a lot of those arrests.
I've actually been arrested one time in my life, and I was waiting for my bus with my bus pass in my hand, and I got arrested for trespassing at the public train station. Yeah, it was really weird, and they arrested 15 or 20 other people that day. It was like a really weird sweep. And they just, I thought at first maybe they were arresting people that graffitied, because I knew a lot of friends that graffitied, and I saw them pull somebody that I knew back, that I knew spray painted, and I was like, oh, maybe they might be getting on that. So I actually warned a couple people that I saw coming up to the train station. I was like, hey, they're arresting people, and I don't know if it's about graffitiing, so you guys want to get out of here? And I think they saw me do that, and they were like, all right, now she's done. So they ended up arresting me. They didn't read me my rights. They screamed at me. They threw me in a cell alone. They didn't give me my phone call for hours. Like, I was 16 years old. It was a horrifying experience. So like, for me, like knowing how unjust arrest can be, I get really, really happy to see like bail funds and things like that like out there, because I mean,
it's so important.
Thankfully, I had my parents to bail me out, you know.
Speaking of, I guess, arrest and police, how are you about, because I remember like when this whole like defund the police, a lot of people were very pro defunding the police, and I guess for me, I try to think a little bit more about what is happening right now, and a bit more about what the police's job is. And I know for you, like, your stance is like, F the police, like, most of, like, they're pigs, they're all, like, horrible. But for me, I guess for me, I don't really have that view. My stance is not really like, F the police, like, they're all horrible, because honestly, I have a lot of friends who are, you know, in the department. And I do naively, I guess I would say naively, I do still have hope that there are good cops, and I do have hope that if, God forbid, myself or anyone that I know is in need and they call for help, that the police should be the ones that show up at the scene to help. And maybe that's just me being naive. And I've had my encounters with the police. Like, I've had to go to court, you know, in the past for, like, stupid things. And I'm like, yo, fuck you. Like, I'm a kid. Like, okay. Yeah. So, like, I also was 16 when this happened, you know, and I was at the bus stop and I was waiting to get on the bus, and there were, like, dozens of kids around me. And I'm like, why are you picking on me? You know, like, I had to get a summons and all of that. And I'm like, yo, like, why are you telling me to do, like, why are you forcing me to get on a bus? Like, you know, and it was just very unfair. But even so, living in my community that I live in a very, like, racially diverse community. I live in Brooklyn, New York. Like, I'm like the epicenter of multiracialness, you know, and crime is very prominent still in my area. Like, New York, Brooklyn, at the end of the day, crime is very prominent. And I still feel like if the police was defunded in New York, with all the crime we already have, that is not going to be good for us. That is not going to be good for the communities that most of the people in those communities are not felons. You know, they're not the ones that are committing the crime. They still need the protection. And even though the police in those communities may not be the ones protecting them as much as they need, but I feel like this is in the sense of maybe changing where the funding is going in the police department. You know, maybe instead of defunding the police, maybe change how much you're paying them and implement different programs for better mental health, you know, better training, longer training. You know, that's just kind of just like how my thing is. I don't think defunding the police helps, but...
Well, interestingly, what you're describing is basically the platform of defunding the police. And I think this is where language is so hard, because I have sometimes I will not take the time to explain the way I feel to people, because I can tell that it doesn't matter what I say, they're not gonna hear me. So for me, when I hear, as far as I understand, the platform of defund the police, because when I first heard that, I saw the same thing. I was like, well, we can't not have law enforcement. We can't, and I 100% acknowledge that. And like what you're saying is what I believe in, is that police should not have to be social workers, traffic directors, mental health specialists, drug counselors. All of these things that we expect the police to do is a huge reason why police have this stress and this us versus them and this trauma. Because I mean, let's be honest, police have trauma, and that is why, you know, this us versus them mentality is not an accident. It is the way that they're trained. If you you know, doing research into the police training is disturbing, because it has changed over the years to be less about de-escalation, less about community outreach, and it's more about violent defense, you know, and this command presence and this authority and this you're above these people, and that is a huge problem for me. So I think there's a ton of factors that go into why police are doing what they're doing right now. And I think that if we were to defund the police, because there's two different schools of thought. There are anarchists, you know, there are people who don't want any police at all. They think that there are other ways to handle, you know, whatever. I am more of the defunding. And when I say all cops are bastards, what I mean by that is not that every police officer is a bad person, is a jerk, is a racist, is out there to screw people. What it means to me is that they are accepting of a system. And I've seen some police that are on social media that are very critical of the police, and that to me is a good cop. But when I say there are no good cops, I don't, it's more of like there are none while they're all complacent. And that is like, and I know that that's hard for people to get from just saying all cops are bastards, like, and that's where that language thing, you know, it's like the struggle that we saw with Black Lives Matter at first. People were like, well, don't all lives matter? You know, and then like you would explain it like, no, all lives matter when Black lives matter. And right now they don't. So like that little bit of explanation you have to do like after that face statement is really important. And I do admit that I do not always have the patience to do that. But like you said, I do believe that there are people who join the police force. There's people in our own plant community that have joining the police force that have voiced their disappointment with me in the way that I speak about police. But I have literally, and I am being 100% honest, as a white woman, have had 100% bad experiences with police officers in many. I've lived in 3 different cities, all diverse, you know, like, well, no, I'm lying. The one I grew up in was not diverse. The second 2 were. But the one that I was arrested in was a very white town, and we were the ones that the cops bothered. We were the ones that, you know, the skateboarders and everything, like, they had nothing better to do, so they picked on us. So I grew up with this really bad image of and they've just never given me anything. Like, they've never given me anything to, like, believe in them for. So I really think, long story short, that money needs to come out of the police department into programs, community programs, social programs, job programs, drug problems, things like that. We need to fix all of that because that's what causes crime. And this just aggressive policing is not solving crime. It's exacerbating it, in my opinion.
What I really appreciate also is the fact that we do come from 2 different upbringing, 2 different backgrounds, but ultimately we both have had, you know, interactions with police. And Pam is a white female and I am a black female, and we both have had just similar sort of interactions with the police. And this is of course not to say, like Pam said, all police are bad, because obviously there's always going to be a bad like apple in the bunch. There will always be a bad few rotting apples. And the thing that we can tell with like plants or maybe fruits is that when something starts rotting, and if it attaches itself to something healthy, guess what? It is going to attack it, and that thing, that healthy plant that might have had just like the ability to live for the next 100 years to survive, like instantly in the next couple of days that thing will start to rot. And you know, that's what it is. It's like we need to hold these police officers accountable. I think police are supposed to be there to protect the people and not to menace us, because guess what? There are so many, we have enough menaces that you need to put your attention towards. So why are you focusing on things that don't matter and turning a blind eye to the things that do matter?
I mean, you know? What's the second half of that saying that everyone leans on, that one bad apple? It spoils the whole damn bunch. And I think a lot of people don't follow that cliche all the way through, because while these police are allowed to continually get away with murdering people, with setting people up. I mean, how often are they dropping drugs in cars and you know, it's become this culture, this toxic environment that I don't think can be reformed. I think it needs to be stripped down and rebuilt. And we do need law enforcement. We need some kind of law enforcement. But when it's like, you know, say your neighbors are in an argument and you know that the guy drinks and you know, maybe nobody's being hurt, but there's a problem.
Or the wife.
You should be able to call someone that's not a police officer, because a police officer might just shoot somebody, whereas a social worker might do a little better, you know, and social workers will tell you themselves, they are trained to deal with violent people, disturbed people, you know, they go through a lot, so they can handle it. And I think that we need to give them the chance.
You do. And I guess maybe to get off of this police topic, because I know this is a topic that's really sensitive for everyone, but this is an important topic, and Pam and I were speaking also in her video that it's important for us as I would say we are micro influencers, right? You know, like I think micro influencer is like under 100K or something we're considered. I don't know, but as like influencers within our niche, within our realm, people look to us, you know, just like for everyday talk, you know, like who are we? And I think it's important for, all right, I guess to go off a little tangent but still trying to connect this, it's important for us to know who we're supporting, you know. I've seen in the past, like some of the video contents I've created, you know, is pretty much bringing light to other people that we support, you know, really showing, oh, okay, well, this is actually what's going on behind the scene. And a lot of people are appreciative of finding that information, and a lot of people do want to know who they're supporting, do want to support people with similar political views, do want to support people with similar morals, you know. And it's important as like plantfluencers to kind of, I'm not saying to be the guide, because that's a lot of pressure for us, because we are everyday humans also. But I think just to be your genuine self, and when it comes to important things that impacts us every single day, ultimately, like, I do want to keep it about plants, but ultimately there are people behind the plants. You know, we are the plant parents, you know, and you're here for us. Yes, you're here for the plants, but you're also here for the personality. Absolutely. And you have to know who the personality is. And it's important for us to have this sort of dialogue, to be like, okay, well, think of it maybe in a different way than you wouldn't have thought about it in your tight-knit circle with the same sort of mentality. To communicate, just to have constructive dialogue. I don't think anything we said was disrespectful. We're just sharing our American right, you know. Within this country, we have the right to talk about what is going on, you know, because if people can get upset about the type of plant that I have, the type of shirt that I'm wearing in my video, you know, the lisp, you know, or the way somebody's teeth looks, then you know what, goddamn it, we can fucking talk about the election that is coming up on November 3rd, okay?
That's what I'm saying. Because you know what, there are plant people out there that want that. I don't get this, like, feel, you know, when people bring up their politics, that to me is them just talking about what is important to them. And if somebody is like supporting at this point, I mean, really at any point, but at this point, if you are still supporting the president, I can't get past that, and I'm not going to feel bad about it anymore. Like, I'm just not. I will have a conversation with anybody that wants to have a conversation with me in a calm and meaningful manner, but I am 38 years old. I know who I am, I know where my moral lines are, and I know when they are crossed. So I know that I get like, it doesn't happen anymore because I've run off everyone, you know, that doesn't want to deal with me. But every now and then I will get somebody that will come in and just be so offended that I don't think the way that they do. And I just want to tell them, like, you do realize that, like, I've put a lot of time into the way I feel, right? Like, you're not just going to change my mind because you're threatening to unsubscribe to me. I don't care.
Literally.
Go.
Literally.
Like, what about me would ever make you think that I'm like, honestly, yay, Trump? Like, nothing about my personality or what's important to me aligns with that man. So it should be like really obvious. And I just, you know, as much as I like to keep the lines of it, and that's why I admire you so much, because you have such patience to continue to talk. And you've had a very, like you said, a different experience than me. And sometimes I feel like not entitled to my frustration because, like, I should have more patience. And I do try to, but it's hard. Sometimes, man, you can just tell when somebody is like too far gone, and I can't do it.
And I guess, like, speaking of like the president, so I guess I'm just gonna go out there and say I would be considered a liberal, right? Because ultimately, before we had the two presidential candidates that we have now, I always been like a big Bernie Sanders fan. Like, I guess I'm gonna try to put a photo up here. Danny DeVito, like a couple of years in 2016 for Trump's first election, he came like for Sanders, and Sanders came to like my campus. I went to Brooklyn College, and we had a lot of Bernie Sanders because he actually is an alumni of my college, Bernie Sanders, and he's had like speeches at my college and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
So since then, I have always been a Bernie Sanders fan. Like, his frame of thought aligns with me, but unfortunately, he did not get chosen. And so I'm at this point now where the two candidates that we have now, I have to literally just sit down and listen to what they have to say. And when we have these VP debates, these presidential debates, and these questions are being posed, and I'm not getting the answers that I want from both parties, Pam, I feel like this is kind of like where I'm at now. It's like, I know the right choice is to not vote for the current president that is in power. But the fear of bringing somebody new that we don't know, you know, like, he is not Barack Obama. Ultimately, he is Joe Biden.
No.
You know?
And people love to tie him to
VP,
Obama just
you know,
because
and
he
it's
was
tough
like the vice president, but
we have this veiled perception of Obama, Joe Biden, Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala. And again, for me, this is the liberalness coming in my mind, because after Bernie, I had to put myself in a liberal stance because I did my due diligence. I went out and I voted multiple times, you know, for the local, you know, representatives, for the national representatives. I did my due diligence. And unfortunately, the people that I might have voted for did not get elected. So I think for me now, it's like, I'm stuck in between like a rock and a hard place. Okay, all right. So I guess, I don't know, what advice would you have, Pam, for people like me who, because I know you're firm on like your stance, you know, you're firm on your side, but you're 38 and I'm 27, you know, so I've only voted twice in my life. Like, as soon as I turned like 18, 19, I was able to vote for like Obama's second term, and I voted for Obama. Like, I'm proud of that. And like, I voted for Hillary, she didn't win, you know. So now it's like, I feel like I don't know where I'm at, because when I do look at both Kamala and Biden's, like, when they were senators, and we know in their states, right, the laws and the things that were put in place, I'm like, damn, that shit really, I don't really like those, you know.
It's very it's disenchanting. And when I started voting, I turned 18 in the year 2000. So my first experience with like the presidential election was watching it literally be stolen from Al Gore. I mean, he won the just like Hillary, he won the popular vote, and they didn't give it to him. And for me, that was like, wait, like what? And you know, like, you know what the Electoral College does in a sense, but then to see that happen, and I just remember being so devastated. And then the second election around, by that time, I was really like following politics, and I have ever since. This has always been who I am. And after that, I put my heart and soul into being lukewarm about John Kerry. I was just like, you know what? He's not Bush. That's what I want. He was my senator at the time, I believe. You know, and then that loss again was really hard. And then it went from there to Obama, which was this huge, I mean, this big, like, we did it, you know, and I was all for it. I volunteered, I donated, I had Obama shirts for my baby at the time. Like, I was about it, you know. And then, as much as, like, you know, he did a lot of good things that I really, you know, I don't want to, like, shit on Obama or anything, but, like, over the years, he also showed himself to be, you know, he kind of played the game, and he didn't push hard on the healthcare thing, and he didn't push hard when it came to the security, the Supreme Court thing that happened with like 8 months to go from the election. And it just, over the years, just watching Democrats just repeatedly just roll over, it's heartbreaking. So it's so heartbreaking. I understand it, and like, I feel so bad, especially for the kids that are just starting to vote now. But my advice is, like you said, stay on those local elections, because that's sometimes where you can get a little bit of hope back, a little bit of, you know, just you see the young blood come in and they actually care, you know, like the AOCs, the Ayanna Presleys, the, you know, like we have people coming in that are hungry and they want to change things. So I think that those are important. But when it comes to the president, I tell people all the time, I understand why people don't want to vote. I am an assault survivor,
but you have to vote.
So voting for a man who's been multiple times accused of it is incredibly difficult for me.
He said himself, it was recorded on tape to grab her by the pussy, okay?
Yes, and it's been years of just triggering over and over and over again, and it's really hard to
Jeff
keep hope.
Epstein photos.
I need people to vote anyway. People died for your right to vote. People protested for your right to vote. You know, and it's just too important. And even if it means that the election gets stolen again, we always have that voice. And it's not enough. It's not, but it's all we have right now. And if we're just not even going to do that, if we're just like not even, I also believe that if you're not going to vote in this election, you are, and people don't like to hear it, but you are absolutely leaving disenfranchised people behind. You are saying that, you know,
you're part of the problem.
I'm willing to risk Trump winning again because I don't want to vote for Biden.
Not voting is actually a bigger choice than voting itself.
Yes.
Not voting takes away from the option. Like, you don't even give, like, you don't even make a choice. I'm an immigrant. I came into this country in the year 2000. You turned 18 and I came into the country. I was 7, you know, and I got my right to vote. Like, I became a citizen on December 30th, 2011, right? So in 2012, when I got the right to vote, when I could vote, I made sure to exercise that right every single year since I became a citizen of this country, because I immigrated from Haiti.
And there's also incarcerated people that would, you know, and people that have been let out of jail that would kill for the right to vote. My brother who passed away, he wasn't able to vote because he made a mistake, and then he got no say like forever after that. And like Florida has rescinded that, and that's, I mean, of all states. So that's wonderful. That's a step in the right direction. So I think people need to understand that voting can become more effective, but we have to pick away at these little things that they're doing to try to keep us from voting. I mean, you just have to look at the parties. Which one is interested in making voting easier, and which one is interested in not making it easier? For me, that's the end of the friggin' argument. Like, I don't even know why we have to go past that. You know? Yes. Yes. And at this point, it's about smaller courts, too. I mean, Trump's lining the smaller courts with his people. Well, all these little people that are going to be deciding on all these cases and things that affect disenfranchised people. If we're not voting, you know, the president controls so much that we don't even think about. So you're voting for more than the president. It's the Supreme Court. It's the lower courts. It's you know, the governors.
You know, he's
it's
trying
things
to,
like that. Like, it's really important.
There, and it's like, why? And he's going to definitely get it. And that's just like, you know, the nonsense what I think is now. Like, people just vote. Just make your choice to vote. It's easier to not vote, and do not complain. If you do not vote, don't complain about the situation that we're in. Do not, I hate people who do not, like, closed mouths don't get fed. Okay?
Yes.
Like, do not complain after the food is finished, right? You seen everyone was getting fed, right? And then you sat there with your mouth shut. When the food is done, you're gonna complain that you're hungry. Why? When there was food like 5 minutes prior, you know, you had the opportunity to eat, but you chose not to take that opportunity. And when the opportunity is gone, that is when you want to be vocal. No, you know, people like to do things. I feel like they like to speak after the fact. You know, it's kind of that that mentality.
Herd mentality. Herd mentality.
I think something like that. Yeah, it's like they're waiting for everybody else to do, and no one is willing to do. No, do it. You can do it. You have 2 hands. If you don't have 2 hands, you can. There's many different ways to go out there and make your voice count. Don't complain after the fact. You know, like, we're in this plant community. We let bullshit pass by, and then we're complaining after, like, oh, why are the plant prices going up? Well, because you're fucking paying $90 for a philodendron mic and cutting. The plant isn't even worth $90. Why would you pay for a 2-node cutting? You know, I think. How long have you been collecting plants?
So I got my first houseplant when I got my first apartment in would have been like 2003 maybe, when I moved here to the city that I'm in. And my mom always had houseplants. So to me, a house isn't a house without cats and a houseplant.
Yes.
Like you gotta have both or I'm not happy. So I had like 10, you know, I had like 8, 10, 15. So like, you know, they'd succulents, I'd kill them, you know, and I have the couple of plants that I've had for a long time that are still around here. I had them for a long time, and then I think it was just you know what it was? I visited my friend Corey.
And then she went insane and bought a bunch of plants.
So my son has opinions. So I went and I would hang out with my friend Corey, and she had like a wall of plants. It was like a big table, just a lot, just more than I had. And I was like, wow, that looks really good. I should get some more plants. And then when I started looking up how to do decorations with plants, I came across Summer Rain Oaks' apartment tour.
Oh, I think she was like the first plant person. One of the first
I was like, I need
plant
that.
people.
I'm like, I need that. I need my whole house to look like a jungle. I need it.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Here we
are. There's this guy named Martin something. I always forgot his name, but he was the first person that I seen, and I used to go for fiddle leaf fig care. So I know you hate the fiddle leaf fig, but he was the first person that, and he was African American, and I was really happy to kind of just see that, you know, and I'm like, oh shit, it's not just one looking person on here that's a female and she's white. No, it's a black man, and he's really giving me bomb AF information. So yeah, I guess for me, I've been growing plants. So yes, Pam, thank you so much for, you know, coming on my channel and for gracing my houseplant fam with your amazing presence. Please, like I said, check out Pam's Pretty Plants here on YouTube and Instagram. She is so amazing. Awesome femme, awesome boss, awesome mom, awesome plant mom, human mom, cat mom, and she got a new kitty named Jack. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yes, so everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please let me know by giving a thumbs up and sharing. Subscribe if you aren't already. Join this little cookie family because we're pretty awesome here. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I upload a new video. And I will see you in the next one. Let's get growing.
Bye. Bye.